Hachette Audio presents In at Last Chance, written by Hope Ramsay, read by Kristin Kalbli. To Annie and Francis. Chapter 1. The bitter January wind had blown in a cold front. The clouds hung heavy and somber over the swamp. There would be rain, possibly ice. Jenny Carpenter wrapped a hand-knit shawl around her shoulders and gazed through the kitchen window of the house she'd bought last August. The tops of the Carolina pines bent in the wind. The weatherman said it was going to be quite a storm, and Allenburg County had already had one ice storm this year, on Christmas Eve. It was now just 2 weeks past New Year's Day. She turned away from the window toward the heart of her house. Her kitchen restoration was nearly finished. Yellow subway tiles marched up the backsplash behind the Vulcan stove. An antique pie safe occupied the far wall. The curtains were gingham. Everything about this room was bright and cheerful, in sharp contrast with the weather outside. Jenny closed her eyes and imagined the smell of apple pie cooking in her professional baker's oven. This kitchen would rival the one Savannah Randall had installed at the old movie theater in town. She smiled. Savannah's strudel was good, but Jenny's apple pie had still won the blue ribbon at the Watermelon Festival last summer. She could almost hear Mother sermonizing about pride, and her smile faded. She turned back toward the window. She couldn't remember a colder January, and Jenny hated even the mild winters that usually visited South Carolina. Today she had good reason to hate the season. Winter was getting the best of her. She'd hired a crew to cut back the overgrowth on either side of the driveway, but they had called to say that they wouldn't be out today, and probably not tomorrow. The movers weren't going to show up today either, which meant Mother's antique furniture would spend yet another night in the commercial storage space where it had been sitting for 5 years. Without furniture, Jenny would have to postpone her plans to move in at the end of the week. Finally, Wilma Riley, the chair of the Methodist Women's Sewing Circle, had called 5 minutes ago all a-twitter because there was ice in the forecast. The sewing circle had graciously volunteered to help Jenny sew curtains for the bedrooms and sitting room. The fabric bolts, all traditional low-country floral designs, were stacked in the room that would soon be the dining room. But as Wilma pointed out, the gals were not coming all the way out.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?